All right, guys. So I'm just going to continue here with Jesus and his miracles, part two. Part one was kind of short. This one's going to be longer, and it's important. I'm already noticing some things here because if you want to be Christ-like, then you should resemble Christ in every way, because the Holy Spirit is in you. Same Holy Spirit that was in him, and he has given you authority in my name. Will you? Okay, so the difference, I should fix my hair. The difference between doing, in this case, and not doing is believing, okay? And believing, speaking of believing, this is the epitome of believing, is trusting in God. That's, if you take the word faith, equals trust in God, and it is beyond believing. It's actually like fully submitting your life. That's when you trust someone, is essentially like it's beyond believing. Okay, what was that word I was looking for? It's not submission, but surrender. That's the word. Surrender. It's another good word. All right, so let's talk about this. We left off at Mark 1, 23, 28. Jesus cast out unclean spirits. Now, so far, here's what I got. And we're going to continue on with some more miracles and healings. So far, here's what I got. Water into wine was a miracle, okay? Someone asked, his mom asked him. Here's what I'm paying attention to here so far. Every single one of these, let's keep looking at it. Someone asked Jesus for something, okay? I don't know if this is going to continue on through here, but remember, there's an important element when we discuss the DNA of our being, and that, in essence, that God has made the first step. He is waiting for you to take a step. In this case, ask. Pay attention. Water into wine, his mother asked him. Okay? Cures nobleman, son. The nobleman asked him. This fish haul. Here is one place where I don't believe, we're going to look at that again, where he was not asked. I don't believe he was asked. Okay, so here's one thing that we can go against this. I believe. Anyway, leprosy, if you will, you can. Okay, in all of these is about faith, but this one here, again, it's a leper asking. Okay, and he says, "I will." Now the unclean spirit. This is the last one we left off on, and basically here's what I'm getting from this. Just a simple thing. Basically, he was talking because he knew who he was, and then Jesus said, "Shut up," in essence, hold thy peace, and come out of him. So the unclean spirit knew who Jesus was. So it's that other dimension, that's superior dimension, that spiritual dimension, because that's where the unclean spirit lies, in that spiritual dimension. They know what's going on. As a matter of fact, he says, he didn't say it quite like this, but let me just go there again. For some reason I lost it. Give me 1 sec. Mark 1, 23, 28. Mark 1, 23. So he was in the synagogue. In their synagogue. He was in the church, guys. That's a key element. In the church, there's someone with an unclean spirit. And he cried out, "Let us alone. Let us alone." There was more than one, obviously. "What have we to do with thee, thou Jesus, son of Nazareth? Hast thou come to destroy us? I know thee and who thou art, the Holy." So this is important to note that the spirits, because it's spiritual, remember, God is spiritual. Everything physical is first spiritual. So it's a spiritual realm. We're living in a spiritual realm. It's it's too bad that we can't sometimes see this spiritual realm with these eyes. Like everybody be able to see it. Then we'd be freaked out, I believe. Okay? Nevertheless, the spiritual side knew of Jesus, okay? That's a serious thing. Um, Nevertheless, he said, "Be quiet," and then boom, come out of him, okay? Because he was using the person as a vehicle, as a way to speak through that person. And when he came out of him, well, he couldn't speak anymore, I don't think. And when the unclean spirit had torn him and cried out with a loud voice, he came out of him. And they were all amazed, insomuch that they were questioned among themselves, saying, "What thing is this? What new doctrine is this? For with authority he commandeth even the unclean spirits, and they obey him." Okay, and another thing I ran across, someone mentioning, why was this such a... Oh no, never mind. We'll continue on. Okay, so let's go to Mark 1:30-31. Jesus cures mother-in-law, a fever. Mark 1:30-31. Okay, Peter's mother-in-law. Let's go check it out. Simon's wife, mother, lay sick with a fever, and at once they told him of her. And he came and took her by the hand and lifted her up, and immediately the fever left her, and she ministered unto them. In this case, he didn't even speak. Okay? Took hand and lifted her. No speaking. Jesus didn't speak here. Didn't say it. He spoke. Came in and took her by the hand and lifted her up, and immediately the fever left her. Instantly, fever left. Okay? He was asked by Peter, obviously, and then, okay, we're going to have to look at this because this is the only one, the fish haul here. This is one, Luke 5:11, 1:11. I got to go look at it right now. Luke 5:1. Yeah, he did. When he was done speaking, he said unto Simon, "Launch out into the deep and let your nets for a draught." He wasn't asked. And Simon answered him, "Master, we have toiled all night and have taken nothing. Nevertheless, at thy word, I will let down the net." Okay? So, yeah, he did not ask. He did not ask in that situation. Okay. Now, I was going to say something, but I'll say it anyway. Okay, so in the evil spirit there, okay, from my knowledge, okay, because I did run across a video of someone saying this. Back in those times, they would cast those Pharisees, etc. They would cast out demons, etc., and devils But they did it in a way that they asked the demon what his name was, and then they would cast him out using the name. Okay, you're going to see. We're going to go fast forward afterwards where he does a mute, and that's not even possible, and he still casts him out. But here you'll notice it said we. He didn't ask for the name, and so this is probably one of the reasons why it was like, what's going on here? Because there were times when they were cast out, okay, before Jesus, but it's the method by which he cast it out that they've never seen anything like it. Okay. Jesus healed a leper. Mark 1:40-45. I don't think we got enough. Didn't we do this one already? No, it's another one. Mark 1:40. That's fine. And there came a leper to him, beseeching him and kneeling down to him and saying unto him, If thou wilt, thou canst cast me clean. Wait, didn't I do this one already? Is this the same one? Okay, might be the same one. But let's just look at this again then. And Jesus, moved with compassion, put forth his hand and touched him and said unto him, I will, be thou clean. Okay, so this is the same one. It's just in another, it's Mark instead of Luke. Or Luke, yeah. Okay? As soon as he had spoken, immediately leprosy departed from him, and he was cleansed. And he strictly charged him, and forthwith sent him away, saying unto him, See that thou say nothing to any man. Okay, we've done that one. Interesting. The document that I'm pulling this from is this one here. So I don't know why it would do this twice. Nevertheless. Jesus healed a centurion servant. This is another good one. Okay. Matthew 8:15. 8, 5:13. Centurion. I've used this one many times because it's much more than, okay, Matthew 8:5. And when Jesus had entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion, beseeching him, again, begging him. I would say that the word is correct. Again, asking and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home, sick with palsy and grievously tormented. Again, asking on behalf of someone else, which is like John here in this one with the nobleman. And Jesus said unto him, I will come and heal him. Jesus responded, I don't know how to organize this, guys. Jesus agreed right away in this stance here. And then he said, the centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. Speak word and healed. Remember here, the same thing happened. Cures nobleman's son. Is this the same? Is this the same story? No, this is centurion. Is this? I'm sure there were many, but is this almost? It's almost identical. And my servant shall be, for I am a man. No, this one I don't know about that. Maybe it could be the same story, but it goes deeper here. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me, and I say to this man, go, and he goeth, and to another, come, and he cometh, and to my servant, do this, and he doeth. When Jesus heard it, he marveled and said to those who followed, Verily I say unto you. See, he marveled. This was one of the big ones here. And he said to those who followed, Verily I say to you, I have not found such great faith, such trust in God, not in Israel. And I say unto you that many shall come from the east and the west, because this was a Gentile. And now he's talking about the Gentiles. And I say unto you that many shall come from the east and the west. He's talking about the Gentiles. And shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. Okay? He's talking directly about the faith of this Gentile centurion. And then he went, and I say to you, many shall come from the east and the west. In other words, they're not Jews, and they will sit and eat with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom, the Jews, now he's talking to the Jews, but the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Okay, so he made a distinction there. Many of you will reject what I'm sharing and what I'm giving as a gift to you. And those that don't even know me will come. Okay, and will receive it, and you will be left out. And Jesus said unto the centurion, Go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. As you believed, so be it done to you. Okay, and the servant was healed in that same hour. Again, the hour deal. Remember how we looked at within the hour? Same thing, in that hour. And when Jesus had come into Peter's house, he saw, okay, that was that one, right? Fantastic. This one was a huge one. It's teaching many things here, that servant. He went into many things here. Okay, Jesus raised widow's son from the dead. Luke 7, 11, 18. Widow's son. Widow's son from dead. So he's going to raise someone from the dead right here. Let's check it out. Luke 7, 11, 18. 11. And it came to pass the day after that he went into a city called Nain, and many of his disciples went with him, and many people. Now when he came nigh to this gate of the city, behold, there was a dead man being carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow, and many people of the city were with her. So you got a dead person being walked out with the mother here. And when the Lord saw her, he had compassion on her and said unto her, Weep not. Boom. He did not ask. No asking here. Okay, so this you cannot use, it cannot confirm that everyone asked before they received. Okay, so here it is. There was no asking. And the Lord saw her and had compassion and said, Weep not. And he came and touched the bier, and those who bore him stood still, and he said, Young man, I say unto thee, rise. We got to write these things down. Like these, look how simple he makes a statement. Young man, I say unto thee, rise. Let me write that down. Young man, I say unto thee, rise. It's like very simple, direct, full authority, knows exactly what's cooking here. There's no question. And he that was dead sat up and began to speak, and he delivered him to his mother. And there came a fear on all, and they all glorified God, saying, A great prophet is risen among us. God had visited his people. God had visited his people. The support of him. Okay, there's that one. Let's go to the next one. Jesus stilled the storm. Matthew 8, 23, 27. Stilled storm. And when he had entered into a boat, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great tempest on the sea, insomuch that the boat was covered with the waves, but he was asleep. Interesting. Boat shaking, waves are covering him, and Jesus is sleeping. Okay, we gotta ask, why is he sleeping? He's so relaxed, man. This, he is so chill. Like, he knows what's going on. It's like there's no fear, there's no doubt in him, right? You see what I'm saying? It's the completeness, 100% completeness, the fullness. He was embodied, completely covered in the Holy Spirit. Like, no doubt, no fear, everybody shaking, right? And his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish, we're dying. He didn't say that we're dying, but it's the same thing. Lord, save us, we perish. And he said unto them, why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Look at this, he rebukes them, right? Why fearful? Full. You of little faith. You of little trust in God. Okay? Then he arose and he rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. But the men marveled, saying, what manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? Okay? Like, there's just miracle after miracle. There's another one right here, but I got to stick with the program here. I got to stick with what's on there. Okay? So, nevertheless, he's saying that one is just a statement. Look, he's showing his power and authority over all things, everything. And then he's like, you are with me, yet you're fearful. Why are you fearful? You of little trust in God. Okay, let's go. Oh, to demoniacs, 8:28-34. So it continues here. Okay. That was the other one. And when he had come to the other side in the county of Gorgiasness, there met him two possessed with devils coming out of the tombs, exceedingly fierce, so that no man might pass by. Two possessed with devils. Two possessed with devils. Coming out of the tombs, exceedingly fierce, so that no man might pass by that way. And behold, they cried out, saying, what have we to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time? Like, I'm wondering if, because this is Matthew, and then we have right here Mark, right? They might be, maybe they're the same story, but not really, because it says two possessed, but yet this one, if you pay attention, Mark, it did say we, right? It said we, so there was more than one. So this is an explanation of two stories. You can say, oh, wait a sec, the Bible isn't right because they contradict. No. If they were exactly the same, then it would make almost sense that the same person wrote them. But because they're slightly different, that gives it authentication. Okay, just so you guys know. Okay, when someone pulls you over, there's a crime scene and two or three witnesses, they'll separate the witnesses and then they'll say, what's your story? Tell me what happened. Then they'll take the second witness and then they'll take the third witness. The stories are not exactly as they happened, but there's similarities in the story, okay? And that's what signifies truth. If they were exact, it'd be something like created, okay, that they kind of coerced or put together. But nevertheless, let's continue with this one. Now there was a good way off from them, and I heard of many swine. No, this is a different one, okay? So yeah, I'm sure he's done many, miracles, and they kind of similar to this. So they said it again. Spiritual realm is communicating, okay? Hence why Jesus was communicating things of the spiritual realm. Look at the devils themselves communicating things of the spiritual realm, right? There's two realms. There's the physical reality and the spiritual. And the physical was the man or the two men in this situation, right? And through them spoke the spiritual, the two demons, and he separated them. He knows he's not even talking to the dudes, the guys or the dude, whatever who it is. He's talking to the spiritual realm, the demons, the devils. You see, he made a separation there. Okay, and then so he looks, and then there's a herd of pigs quite a distance away. Think about this. Look at this. How he's going to. He's not only here. Let me write this down. It's important to get this. Yeah, let me talk about it first, and then we'll write it down. But look, he can pinpoint. His command dictates exactly what's going on. It's not like come out. It's like come out and go in there. Right? Here it goes. So the devils besought him, saying, oh no, so they even asked, okay, so the devils now besought him. So they asked, saying, if thou cast us out, suffer us to go away into the herd of swine. And he said to them, go. Look at this. He said, go. That's it. Go. Herd of swine. He said one word, go. And when they had come out, they went into the herd of swine, and behold, the whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep hill in the sea and perished in the waters. And those who kept them fled and went their ways into the city and told everything. Okay. So here in this situation, the devils, demons, knew who he was again, and then beseeched him, asked him, begged him to be put in the swines. What is that telling me? Oh, there's so much here. Look, because they even wanted what they wanted, remember how I said to you in the beginning of time, Lucifer, right? And he had a conversation and God says, you want to go. It's very simple. Look, he didn't say anything else. He didn't have to do anything but say go. Because they basically were casting them. They understood the authority of Jesus. They weren't going to question it. They weren't going to argue. As a matter of fact, they said, you're going to do this, so send us off over there, those swines way down there. And then he said, go. Boom. It was like one word. Because they gave him authority even more so than they already had. They weren't going to put up a fight. And remember, these ones here, if you heard, these ones here, they were exceedingly fierce so that no man might pass by that way. They were vicious. Okay, no fear in Jesus. And then what happened was the whole herd of swine, and when they had come out, they went into the herd of swine, and behold, the whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep place into the sea and perished into the waters. And those who kept them fled and went their ways into the city. Now listen, guys. Why a question you got to ask yourself. You just can't read these things. Ask a question. Why did they want to go into the swines? Like, are they so, like, it's got to be really scary not to be in something for them to say, right? They didn't say, put us into those people, right? You got to ask the questions. If you don't ask the questions, you won't get the answers. Why didn't they say, if you're going to cast this out here, send us into those people that are watching you? You got hundreds, if not thousands of people behind you watching. Send us into those. Why didn't they? Because they knew that's not possible. It's not going to happen. Right? It's not going to happen. They understand. They understand. They have understanding. Remember, this is the key here. My people perish because, I don't know the exact words, of lack of understanding, or due to lack, or no, Because they lack understanding. How's that? My perish because lack understanding. This is, it's not exact, guys, but it's in the Bible somewhere. I don't know where it is. But let's get this straight. The demons understood. See, we lack understanding, but the demons understood. The demons understood that they can just be cast into any body. The fact that they wanted to be cast into something means, like, apart from being in someone, they are grieving. It's like painful. That's the only thing I can get from that. In other words, being in those pigs is more comforting than being out here alone. I don't know. That's what I'm getting. They couldn't be cast into anyone else. It wouldn't happen. They understood that. And so they picked animals. Jesus did not disagree. And, you know, in the Jewish laws, pigs, they can't eat pig. Now, I love pig. I love pig. I love chicken. I eat that, no problems, right? But in that time, in that tradition for the Jews, pig was an unclean animal. So I'm just assuming that that was okay. Jesus cast them out. Remember, somebody owned those pigs. I don't know. Did they own the pigs? Why would they own the pigs? Now let's think about that. If pig was, obviously the pigs were maybe wild pigs. Think about it. At first I thought, okay, somebody owns these pigs. But now just speaking, it doesn't make sense, because who are they selling the pigs to? They can't eat pig. Is it to the Gentiles? Maybe. Maybe, but nevertheless, those pigs went into the water and just died. So they had to salvage them to get the pigs to eat the pigs, right? But there was two spirits. So the two spirits went into two pigs, because they can't be in all the pigs. Like, right? Ask some questions so you can get some answers. Nevertheless, the pig is an unclean animal, right? And the demons understood certain things. They understood authority. They understood what he would do and what he wouldn't do. They understood that if they asked them to be cast into the pigs, that he would do that. So Jesus had no issues by doing that, okay? And he did according. And then they ran into the water and basically drowned. So if someone owned the pigs, I'm sure that they would be really irritated. The only reason I could see them owning the pigs is to sell the pigs to the Romans, because they had no issues with the pig. And so that farmer may be irritated a bit. Okay? Nevertheless, look at this. Go, he says. Go. Let's go to the next one. Jesus cured the paralytic. Matthew 9:1-8. Hold on. Matthew 9:1-8. Okay. Matthew 9:1-8. Matthew 9:1-8. Paralytic. This is someone who's paralyzed. In other words, they can't move. I don't know if it's a complete paralyzation, but let's go here. And he entered into a boat and passed over and came into his own city. And behold, they brought to him a man sick with palsy, lying on a bed. Palsy. Lying on a bed. And Jesus, seeing their faith, what did he do? He seeing their faith. Seeing their faith. I needed a document to write this. Just too much information. seeing their faith, said unto the one sick with the palsy, Son, be of good cheer, thy sins be forgiven thee. Son, be of good cheer, thy sins are forgiven thee. So, and behold, certain of the scribes said to themselves, This man blasphemeth. And Jesus, knowing their thoughts, said, Why think... Now listen, guys, here's what I've talked about earlier. Did you guys hear what I just said? Now pay attention again. I'll say it again. Pay attention. And Jesus, knowing their thoughts, said, Why think ye evil in your hearts? Pay attention. Okay? Matthew wrote this. Okay, Matthew wrote this. Did Jesus tell him this? I don't know. Think about it. Did Jesus, when you're recalling something, did Jesus say, well, you know, Matthew, I knew what they were thinking, and they were thinking evil in their hearts. For which is it easier to say, thy sins be forgiven thee, or say, arise and walk? Nevertheless, it said here, and Jesus, knowing their thoughts, okay, right? Why think ye evil in your hearts? This is like, listen, anyone around Jesus, unless he told them, because they didn't say anything. Or did he? Wait a sec. Yeah, no, listen. Okay, I've got to show this to you guys so you guys can see it. Pay attention. Number 3, and behold, certain of the scribes said what? Within themselves. See, we read this stuff. Now let me get out of here for a second. See? We read this, we glance over it, we don't actually pay attention to it. Certain of the scribes said within themselves. They didn't say it out loud. This man blasphemeth. They said it inside. In other words, this is what it sounded like. Nobody heard anything. Right? But we read this and glance over it. This is what it's saying. It says, they said within themselves. And Jesus, knowing their thoughts, said, Why think ye evil in your hearts? In other words, they were all standing there. Jesus said that. Son, be of good cheer, thy sins are forgiven thee. And then he glanced over them, and there was nobody saying anything. And then he says, Why think ye evil in your hearts? For which is easier to say, thy sins be forgiven thee, or to say, arise and walk? Imagine being in that situation, surrounded, paying attention. He said something, he did something, it's like, and nobody's saying a word about it. And then he says, why are you thinking evil in your hearts? Right? Which is easier to say, thy sins be forgiven thee, or to say, arise and walk? But that ye may know that the Son of Man hath power on earth to forgive sins. Then said he to the one sick with palsy, Arise, take up thy bed, and go into thine house. Now pay attention to this one. Which is easier to say, thy sins be forgiven thee, or say, arise and walk? So he's making, this is an important one. Sins forgiven, or arise and walk? He's making them equal. He's making them equal. Sins equals the reason why you're in this predicament. See, this is important, guys. We got to get this. This is super important. He's saying, which is easier, sins forgiven or rise and walk? What he's saying is, if I forgive you your sins, you will rise and walk. So he's saying they're both equal. The reason why you're in this situation, and I know it's not always, because as we read on, we'll see, not always, but pretty much, the reason why you're in this situation is because it's a manifestation of the unrighteousness or sin in your life. Hence, it produced this manifestation in your body. That's what he's saying. Because I could say your sins are forgiven and your situation, well, I don't know if, let's look at it. I was going to say, I could say sins are forgiven and your situation would be cleared and cured. But look, he said one thing after this. So we got to take this into context. He said, which is easier, thy sins be forgiven thee, or to say, arise and walk? But ye may know that the Son of Man hath power on earth to forgive sins. He then said to the one with palsy, now he made a command, arise, take up thy bed, and go to house. Okay? This is the command right here. This is a command. Here wasn't a command. He just forgave sins, and then he did a command. And he arose and departed to his house. So let me just go back, because I want to see, son, be of good cheer, thy sins be forgiven thee. Okay, so listen, guys. Here's what I'm getting from this. He said right here, son, be of good cheer, thy sins are forgiven thee. Okay, so he did something there, but there was controversy in their heart, etc. They were just debating, what's going on here? And then he did a command. So is this important? Because he did it. He did the command, and then that's after the command. Look at the command. Go. This is the command. Command. He commands. As you believed, so be it to you. Command. Here he took the hand and didn't say anything. This is not a command. It's an action. There's a command here for the demon. And then he, if you will, can faith, the leprosy one, and he says, I am willing. It says here somewhere. He said, I am willing. And then boom, the command. Okay, so most of them have a command, except for this one here. When his action was his command. And he lifted her and he touched her. So I'm just saying, we're going to find this as well. This is important. The study is based on what exactly did he do. He commanded, and then there was times when he just touched. He took her hand and lifted her. And there'll be more of that. Let's go. Continue. Jesus raised the ruler's daughter from the dead. Ruler's daughter. Okay, now we go. Ruler's daughter. Matthew 9:18, 26. Ruler's daughter. There's some big people here. Ruler's daughter. There was a centurion. There was a nobleman. He didn't discriminate. You see, we're starting to catch this now. We're starting to see it. I just wish this was better. 9:18, 26. Let's go there. While he spoke these things unto them, behold, there came a certain ruler and worshipped him. A certain ruler. And worshipped him. Nice. Saying, my daughter is even now dead. Another dead person. But come and lay thy hand upon her, and she shall live. I can't write this stuff, guys. It's just too much. My daughter's dead. My daughter dead. But come and lay thy hand upon her. Lay hand, and she shall live. Before I even get into this, look. This ruler came to Jesus, and look at this statement. It wasn't like, can you come over here and just see what you can do? No, he says, it's faith. He has trust already in God. He already has incredible faith because his words say it. My daughter's dead, but come, lay your hand on her, and she shall live. It's not like, and can you please come and do this? Because, like, that's incredible faith. It says, if you lay your hand on her, she will live. That is a statement of faith. Okay? That's no joke. That's a statement of faith. So, and let's see what happened. And Jesus arose and followed him. Didn't question, just went up. And so did his disciples. Behold, a woman who was diseased with an issue of blood for 12 years came up. Oh, here's another miracle. We're just, so he's going to go to do this miracle. We got another one. Okay, I guess this is part of it. So we got a woman who is diseased with an issue of blood. Okay, woman, blood condition. 12 years. Obviously, she's bleeding, right? You know what I'm saying? Issue of blood, diseased with an issue. I don't know. Either it's menstrual deal or I don't know. Came up behind him and touched the hem of his garment. Okay? Touched. Garment. And she said to herself, how do they know what she said to herself? Somebody had to tell her for them to write this. Okay? This is something that was spoken of afterwards. They're telling you the story, and then they did talk to this lady afterwards because she probably said, I came up, I was there, and then I seen him walking by, and then I said to myself, if I just touch his garment, I shall be whole, right? So they had conversations with these people, and then that's the testimony, and that's what they wrote about it. She said to herself, okay, you can't write about something you can't hear. So she said it to herself means you're not listening. No one's listening here. These are stories that were shared, and then they wrote it down. You know what I'm saying? Listen to the words. For she said to herself, if I touch his garment, I shall be made whole. But Jesus turned about, okay? And when he saw her, he said, daughter, be of good comfort. So he felt something, but there's more of this in another scripture. Jesus turned about, and when he saw her, he said, daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith had made thee whole. Faith again. Faith equals whole. Okay? Didn't ask, simply touched. Didn't ask, Jesus touched. This was an even garment. This was clothes. This was her hand. This was her clothes. And when Jesus came into the room, now he's so this is along the way to go to the ruler's house. Boom. There's another one where this story is a little bit more interesting, well, a little bit deeper in explanation, where it's like he's walking, okay, because this is the same story, I'm pretty sure of it. It's a blood condition, blood situation. And he's basically walking, and there's a bunch of people around him, and he's walking through them and stuff, etc. And then he stops and says, who touched me? And the disciples are talking back to him saying, Lord, what do you mean who touched you? There's so many people around you. Anybody could have touched you. And then he said that he felt the power leave him. Okay? So pretty sure this is the same story. I'm not sure 100%. But nevertheless, that's one of them. And now he gets to the ruler's house, remember? Dead. And saw the minstrels and the people making a noise. He said unto them, Okay, and saw the men, so basically people crying, etc. He said unto them, give way, for the maid is not dead, but sleepeth. And they laughed him to scorn. And they laughed at him. I guess they laughed him to scorn. I don't him to scorn. Basically, you know where it's coming from. I don't think they were sitting there laughing or crying and then laughing. I think it was more like, I don't think so. She's dead, right? But when the people were put out, so she put them all out. He went in and took her by the hand, and the maid arose. That's it. Right here, what happened was took by hand, and she arose. No command, no nothing. Just grabbed her hand and she arose. Let's go to the next one. What happened there anyway, by the way? Fame thereof went abroad throughout all the land, and when Jesus departed hence, the two blind men following him, crying, oh, there's more. Now there's two blind men chasing him. So now it's, for some reason, it's taking me to Luke 8:43, which is the issue of blood. Let's go check that one out. Luke 8:43. It's the same story. Luke 8. There should be a better thing that keeps things in things. And a woman having an issue of blood for 12 years, same story, who had spent all her living upon physicians. See, now it's a deeper understanding of this, okay? This is Luke now. Her living upon physicians, could not be healed by any. Now it's giving you more details. Same story, so think about it. If you only heard from Matthew, you would go, okay, now Luke is giving you even more information. Okay? For 12 years had spent all her living upon physicians. In other words, doctors had seen her, nobody could heal her. Came behind him and touched the border of his garment, and immediately her issue of blood was stanched. So, I'm thinking it's menstrual deal, right? And Jesus said, who touched me? This is the story I was talking about. When all denied it, Peter and those who were with him saying, Master, the multitudes throng thee and press thee, and sayest thou, who touched me? Basically what I said. And Jesus said, somebody had touched me, for I perceive that virtue is gone out of me. Virtue. I don't know what this means, but it's power. That's what I'm getting from it. I felt somebody hath touched me, for I perceive that virtue is gone out of me. Okay, this is the King James. I felt the power leave me. And when the women saw that she was not hid, she came trembling and falling down before him. She declared unto him before all the people for what cause she had touched him, and now she was healed immediately. Okay? So basically she spoke right there. She said, I've had this blood condition for 12 years and no doctors helped me. Right? This is when she said all that. And I just thought to myself, if I could touch his garment. Okay, so this is where they got the story. Right? Because it's her speaking, but it was her perceiving that if I touch the garment, right? And so she's telling the story right now. Touch him, and how she was healed immediately. Yeah. And he said unto her, daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace. While he yet spoke, there came one from the ruler of the synagogue's house, saying to him, my daughter is dead. Okay, so now look at the change in the story. This is where people say, this Bible doesn't make sense. But yes, it does. Because the essence of the story is complete. Like, there's enough evidence there showing that there's a similarity between that and this. Now here, what happens here is now the ruler of the synagogue, the one we talked of earlier, is now showing up after the situation. But in the other one, the ruler spoke first, and they were on their way when this lady did this. Bingo! Very interesting, right? You see? It's the essence, guys, the essence of the story. Don't get all like riled up with the little details. Okay, Jesus opened the eyes of two blind men. Matthew 9:27-31. 9:27. Two blind men. Matthew 9:27. Two blind men. And when Jesus departed thence, two blind men followed him, crying and saying, Thou son of David, have mercy on us. Two blind men followed him, crying and saying, Thou son of David, have mercy on us. So they're following, they're blind. They can't see where they're walking, but they're crying out. So think about it. They hear all about this stuff that's going on, and they're crying out, yelling out, because they can't see, but they know. Okay, let's continue. And when he had come into the house, the blind men came to him. And when he had come into the house, the blind men came to him, and Jesus said unto them, Believe ye that I am able to do this? Again, he's asking them to talk about their faith. They said unto him, Yea, Lord. Then he touched their eyes, saying, According to your faith be it unto you. Look, we've heard this before, so do you believe? Yes. According to your faith be it unto you. This is important to understand. Okay, if this was the only time we heard it, we would say it requires faith in order for this to actually trigger. It says it here, according to your faith, be it unto you. But then there's other times here, okay, that it kind of questions. And this is interesting, because there are many people that say, okay, how does a dead man come back to life? Well, listen, if we pay attention here, it says the nobleman's faith was what happened there. It's the nobleman's faith. It wasn't the son. The son had an issue. Okay, there was also this one here, the centurion's servant. It wasn't the servant, it was the centurion. Okay, so on behalf, in other words, it's authority, to be honest with you. It's on behalf. I'm asking on behalf of my servant. I'm asking on behalf of my son. I'm asking on behalf of the ruler's daughter. So I'm asking on behalf of my daughter. She's dead. The ruler's daughter's the one is asking on behalf of her. Okay, it's asking on behalf of her, because she can't talk on behalf of her. The woman with blood condition, that's a different story. But again, it's all faith. And then there's some that are asking, because we got to ask ourselves, what's going on here? I'm trying to dig deep. I'm trying to get to the essence of this, because nothing's changed. God has not changed. The Holy Spirit has not changed. The power has not changed. The authority. Jesus has not changed. Nothing has changed but our belief. And Jesus spoke it really clearly here. As your faith, so be it unto you. Now, we have to challenge this, because I'm not quite there yet, right? Jesus loosened the tongue of a man who could not speak. Matthew 9:32. Oh my goodness. Are we going to have to get rid of some of this? This is all so good. 1 Corinthians 4:20. I got to keep that. For the kingdom of God is not in word, but in power. Power. Kingdom, no word, but power. That's a good one. Okay, so we got Matthew 9, Matt 9, 32, 33. As they went out, behold, they brought to him a man dumb and possessed with the devil. What's this about? A man would loosen the tongue of a man who could not speak. Dumb, could not speak. Brought to him a man dumb and possessed with the devil. Dumb and possessed with the devil. And when the devil was cast out, the dumb spoke. Okay. We gotta make a connection. Dumb. Dumb meaning not able to speak. I don't know what you call those. What do you call them? I guess dumb. There's deaf, there's dumb, can't speak. Okay, and he said, look at this connection he made. And when the devil was cast out, devil cast out, he could speak. The dumb spoke. So pay attention to that. He's making a similarity. This devil caused him to be dumb, to not be able to speak. As soon as he cast out the devil, he could speak. Cast out devil and spoke. The devil that was in him caused him to not be able to speak. And when the devil was cast out, the dumb spoke, and the multitudes marveled, saying, it was never so seen in Israel. Now pay attention. Here's what I was talking to you about. On 33 it says, and then 34, but the Pharisee said, he cast out the devils through the prince of the devils. And you can continue on. But 33, and when the devil was cast out, the dumb spoke, and the multitudes marveled, saying, it was never seen so in Israel. Okay, so what that meant is what I told you guys previously. Okay, back in those days, it was possible that there was casting out of devils and demons. They did do that, but they would call on the name of the evil spirit of the devil that was in them. So, and then they would call on that devil and cast him out. Jesus, in this case, didn't do that. He didn't know the name because he was dumb. He couldn't speak. So he couldn't speak. And what was hindering him to speak was that actual devil. And so when he cast out the devil, he could speak. So it was impossible. In other words, what he's saying is this was never, ever done. Okay? Because requirement number one, this is something that was shared with a brother, and I was like, wow, this makes sense. That's why it was never done. Because this is how they did it. They asked for the name. And in this case, how could they get a name? He can't speak. But Jesus cast him out, and then he could speak. Authority, right? Invalid man. John 5:19. 1-9. Invalid man. Let me go back to the cast there. They brought to him a dumb and possessed with the devil, and when the devil was cast out, yeah, that's very clear. He cast them out. He didn't explain how he did it, but that was it. Okay, so now John 5:19. 5:1. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is in Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. A pool with 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of invalid folk, blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. This is very interesting. So they sit here underneath this thing, right? Waiting for the water to move. Somehow it moves. It's a pool. It's a pool, so it doesn't really move. Unless there's something, right? There's something. When it moves, this is when something happens. I guess this is God's way that he did intervene here and did these things. For an angel, okay, sorry, let me continue. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whatsoever then first stepped in after the troubling of the water was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. So there you go. This is an actual real pool. Wonder if it still exists there. And when the angel came down a certain season, made that pool, because a pool is like, right? And whoever steps in first was made whole. And a certain man was there who had an infirmity for 38 years. 38 years, guys. He's been going to this pool. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had been in that state a long time, he said unto him, Wilt thou be made whole? He's asking him now. Wilt thou be made whole? Jesus is asking him. The infirm man answered him, Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool, but while I am coming, another steppeth down before me. Oh, that's true love, isn't there, guys? You see what I'm saying? He's got nobody to like put him in there. Like, you've been doing this for 38 years, man, right? And there's nobody to help this man. Jesus said unto him, Rise, take up thy bed, and walk. Rise, take up thy bed, and walk. So you can see this man has faith, right? Because he's been going there for 38 years. No one shows love and compassion and mercy for him. No one. They all just thinking of themselves. Dive in their feet in there. And then he says, Rise up, take up thy bed, and walk. That's the command. And immediately the man was made whole and took up his bed and walked. Now it was a Sabbath on that day. We're not going to go into that now. Now it's a controversial moment. It's like, wait a sec, how dare you? They couldn't see the 38 years and that no one had mercy and no one had compassion. No one helped this man for 38 years. And look, they have a problem now with it. Wait a sec. It's the Sabbath. We're not even going to get in there. But you guys get my point. You see how humanity is losing their perspective? I'll be right back. 2 seconds, guys. 2 seconds. back. I'm going to have to wrap it up soon here, real shortly. This is a long, extensive deal, but let me continue on. Jesus restored a withered hand. Matthew 12, 10, 13. Matthew 12, 10 to 13. Okay, withered hand. Now, withered hand, guys. Right? Not to say that. Hey, look at these amazing things. Brought them back from the dead. Blind people, paralyzed people. Now we're talking withered hand. I don't even know what exactly that entitles. What that means. Matthew 12, 10, 13. And behold, there was a man who had his hand withered. And they asked him, saying, Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath days? That they might accuse him. I think this was a continuation. And he said unto them, What man shall there be among you that shall have one sheep, and it shall fall into pit on the Sabbath day? He will not lay hold on it and lift it out. How much then is a man better than a sheep? Therefore it is lawful to do well on the Sabbath days. And he said to the man, Stretch forth thine hand. And he stretched it forth, and it was restored. Look at the word, stretch forth thy hand. That's it. But here we had to get into the Sabbath. They have a big issue. See, they have a big problem. They don't do good because they want to stick within what? The rules. You see the problem? Rules. They're trying to abide by the rules and forgetting the actual, what God requires is mercy. Okay? They want to stick with the rules. They're stuck in the rules, and it prevents them from doing mercy. Jesus cures a demon-possessed man. Jesus cures a demon-possessed. Matthew 12, 22. Demon-possessed. There's just too many. 12, 22. Then was brought unto him one possessed with a devil, blind and dumb. This was two. He couldn't speak and he couldn't see. Blind and dumb. And he healed him, so that the blind and dumb both spoke and saw. Why is he saying? Okay, it says here, then was brought unto him one possessed with the devil, blind and dumb. And he healed him, so that the blind and dumb both spoke and saw. That's interesting how the wording is on that. And all the people were amazed and said, Is it not the son of David? But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, The fellow doth not cast out devils, but except by Beelzebul, the prince of devils. Again, why are they saying this? Why are they stressing this? Because it's contradicting the way they do it. The only way they could do it is by calling on their name and then responding back and casting that one based on the name. I'm just a little confused with the 22. And he healed him, the person, one person, He was possessed with a devil, blind and dumb. It's almost like signifying there was two devils, a blind one and a dumb one. And he healed him, so that the blind and the dumb both spoke and saw. Okay? Okay, I think this is going to be enough for today. Let me just do a quick refresher here just to see what's going on here. Well, I might even come back a little bit. I gotta leave here 2 seconds. I gotta see what's cooking upstairs, etc. So here it is. Here it is. Yeah, what do we got going here? The commands that Jesus does are very simple, straightforward. As you believe, so be it. Young man, get up and run, lift up, stretch forth thy hand. In other words, he's recalling, he's telling them to do exactly what the problem is. Stretch forth thy hand, rise up, rise, take up thy bed and walk. That's the problem. He gives them the answer. He doesn't do anything but give them the answer here. What else does he got here? Young man, I say unto thee, rise. He's telling them what they can't do. Rise, take up thy bed and go into the house. The ones that were dead, they just rise. Everything was, most of it was according to your faith. If you will, thou can make me clean. And he says, I'm willing. And he does it. Arise and walk. He always, he gives a command. Other than the points when their faith touching caused it to happen. Okay? I need to dive into here a little bit more. This is not clear. In other words, I wish I had some clarity on the paper. Like, the commands are short and sweet. Arise, take up bed, and go into the house. The commands are telling him what to do, as if there's no question, there's no doubt. Right? Except the blind one doesn't get into the... And here, dumb could not speak. He just cast out the devil and they spoke. Here, the demon-possessed blind and dumb. Let me look at it again. Okay, here he didn't, he just cast them out. He didn't do anything. And then the action was, after casting out the devil or demon, they did what they were wanted to. Okay, I'm going to leave now. If I get a chance to come back, I will. But I got to deal with something upstairs right now. Okay, so this is a study into why is this important? Well, it's important because if you are a believer and a follower of Jesus, and you want to live the FLOh life, Jesus is the king of FLOh life. So you have to understand him, because he hasn't changed. Nothing's changed. Nothing. God, the Holy Spirit, and Jesus. Not one thing has changed. The only thing that's changed is our belief. So if I'm back here, I will light it up again. Until next time, God bless you guys.